Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something huge, a $100 billion market that was basically born from a broken global healthcare system. It's a really interesting story about how a simple lack of trust created this massive business opportunity and how a new digital solution is stepping in to bridge that gap.
You know, this idea, healthcare should heal people, not bankrupt them. It sounds so simple, right? But it's actually at the heart of this huge global paradox. For millions of people, even in the world's wealthiest nations, high-quality healthcare is just, well, it's either way too expensive or it's stuck behind these impossibly long waiting lists.
So that begs the question, why are millions of people literally traveling the globe just to get the care they need? The answer, it turns out, reveals this massive gap in the market. A fundamentally broken system that, believe it or not, has created an opportunity for a whole new kind of business. Let's dig in and see exactly how it works. Okay, so Section 1, a broken healthcare bridge. And this really all starts with a stark contrast. On one side, you've got patients who are just desperate for care they can afford and get in time. And on the other side, the solution is right there, but it feels like it's a world away.
And here's the core of that conflict. This tale of two systems. In wealthy nations, think the US, the UK, patients are hitting a wall. It's either the sky-high costs or these crazy long wait times. But then you look at a country like India, and they have these world-class, top-of-the-line hospitals with a major cost advantage. So what's the problem? Well, it's this cloud of low trust and a total lack of coordination on a global scale.
And this is so important to understand. The problem isn't capacity. It's not a lack of hospitals or trained doctors. The real issue is that broken bridge, the one that's supposed to connect a vulnerable patient in one country to amazing care in another. Right now, that bridge is just shaky, it's unorganized, and honestly, it's pretty intimidating.
All right, Section 2, the patient's nightmare. Because that broken bridge, it really does create a nightmare scenario for the patient. If you're someone even thinking about getting treatment abroad, what you find is a market that's just fragmented, totally disorganized, and it throws up three massive hurdles.
Yeah, just try to put yourself in that patient's shoes for a second. Your health is on the line, and this journey just breaks down into three terrifying parts. First up, the crisis of trust. I mean, how do you really know that a hospital thousands of miles away is legitimate and not some kind of scam? Then you've got the financial maze. The prices you get quoted are almost never all-inclusive, so you're left worrying about all these hidden fees. And finally, you're hit with the logistical nightmare. We're talking visas, flights, critical follow-up care, and you have to manage all of that while you're sick. It's overwhelming.
Okay, so Section 3, building the digital solution. It's pretty simple, right? If the problem is a broken bridge, then the solution has to be building a better one. And that's exactly what's happening. A new breed of company is emerging to build a digital bridge, one that's strong, reliable, and super easy to cross.
Now, let's get really clear about what this solution actually is. We're not just talking about some website that lists hospitals, okay? A medical tourism platform is a managed service. What that means is they take on the entire burden of the journey for the patient. They act as your trusted coordinator, your guide, from the absolute beginning to the very end.
And we can see exactly how this works in the real world, using a company called Get Healing India as a case study. They directly tackle those three hurdles we talked about. They solve the trust issue by vetting and partnering with only the best hospitals. They solve that financial maze by giving you one single, transparent, all-inclusive price, no surprises. And they solve the logistical nightmare by just managing everything else, the visas, the travel, the stay, the recovery, the whole shebang.
And their brand positioning here is just brilliant. India's healing heritage delivered through modern medicine. This is such a powerful tool, right? It's combining that idea of traditional, holistic Indian care with a solid guarantee of rigorous modern medical standards. What they're really doing is positioning themselves as the quality control filter that the market was missing.
All right, let's get to the numbers. Section 4, the $30 billion prize. Because this coordination model, it doesn't just help patients. It unlocks a massive financial opportunity. By fixing that trust gap, these platforms can now go after a pretty significant piece of a very, very large pie.
And the scale here is just immense. The total addressable market, or TAM as you'll hear it called, that represents all the spending by patients traveling anywhere in the world for care. And it's valued at over $100 billion. I mean, that's the entire universe of opportunity we're talking about.
But, smart companies don't try to boil the ocean. They don't target everyone at once. They focus on what's called a serviceable available market, or SAM. In this case, that means specifically targeting patients from places like the Middle East and Southeast Asia who are looking for care in India. And even with that much narrower focus, the opportunity is still a staggering $30 billion.
And from there, they set a realistic short-term goal. That's the Serviceable Obtainable Market, or SOM. It's their revenue target for the next 3 years, about $3 million or 25 crore rupees. And what's so powerful about this is that it shows they only need to capture a tiny, tiny slice of that $30 billion market to prove that this model has absolutely huge potential.
Okay, but wait a minute. If they're solving the problem of high costs, how do they avoid just becoming another expensive layer themselves? And the secret is an asset-light model. Think about it. They don't own the hospitals. They don't own the airplanes. They are a pure service layer that coordinates all the existing infrastructure, and that keeps their own costs incredibly low.
And this super lean, high-margin structure is what allows them to have 3 distinct revenue streams. First, they get a 10 to 15% commission from the hospital for bringing them the patient. Second, the patient pays a fixed service fee for all that coordination work. And third, they get ancillary commissions on all the travel logistics, flights, hotels, that sort of thing.
Okay, so Section 5, Healthcare Beyond Borders. Let's zoom out a bit and look at the long-term vision here. Because this isn't just about fixing a one-off surgery. This is really about creating a permanent global infrastructure for healthcare. So the growth plan for the next 3 to 5 years moves in 3 key directions. First, they want to expand beyond just critical care into the world of wellness and preventative treatments. That's where you get recurring revenue. Second, they're going to build out a much more sophisticated digital concierge platform to make the experience even smoother. And finally, they'll start creating global hospital partnerships to basically replicate this successful model in other countries.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The value isn't just about saving money. That potential was always there. The real product here is organization. It's that missing layer of trust and coordination. By providing that, these platforms are basically the key that unlocks this entire multi-billion-dollar market. And that leaves us with a really provocative final thought. If a company can effectively erase borders and deliver world-class care just by mastering logistics, well, what does that say about the future of healthcare? If organization is what truly dictates who gets access to what, does geography even matter anymore?